mixed Bosnia, and since then has torn it apart with racism. I haven't been in Sarajevo for 4 of those months, and now I am returning to see what has happened to the people I know there, and to try to communicate to the world the feelings not of the politicians or journalists or pundits, but of the innocent people who are being slaughtered for wanting to live together. The Serbian aggression has had almost no effect on what I suppose I have to call my Serbian friendships, although God knows I never thought of my friends ethnically. The great exceptions are those colleagues of mine in the university where I taught for 26 years who have joined the party of Radovan Karadzic, the leader of the Bosnian Serbs. I think especially of Nikola Koljevic here in this pub, where in 1976 he and I drank together. As we approached the pub, he said, "We'll be meeting a Yugoslav tonight. He's quite a nice fellow, really, although he's a Croat." I thought nothing of it at the time, but I've never forgotten it, and to me that remark now epitomizes the racism at the heart of Serbian nationalism. It was another Serbian friend of mine who coined a word for this slow murder of Sarajevo by Karadzic, Koljevic and their thugs: herbicide. Half my family is still in Sarajevo. My wife, Zdenka, is a Bosnian Croat. We are separated, but I hope to help her escape the city when I get there. With the help of the Bosnian presidency, for whom I was working as a translator, I myself left in August to be with my daughter, a refugee here in England. She was about to have her second child, while her husband remained in Sarajevo. I am taking with me documents which I hope will enable him to join her.
The stupid thing was that in the week I left, a Sarajevo poet, not a very good poet, but I mean a good bloke, published a poem in the local paper about me. And it more or less said, well, everybody else has let us down, but Bill Tribe has stayed. And he actually said to the poem, "I doubt if Bill Tribe knows where his passport is." And not only do I know where my passport was, but I was on the way out with my passport. I feel I cannot re-enter the club, that is, the special club of the people who have stayed in Sarajevo throughout this thing. And you will see this when we go there. You will see this special feeling they have.
Friends tell me that Bosnia is finished and that I should move on somewhere else. But to me, that's rather as if someone you love very much has had a horrible disfiguring accident, and you say to yourself, "All right, I'll go and find somebody else. I won't bother about that person anymore." No normal person would do this. You have to go and see the person you love, whatever has happened to them. Sarajevo has been my life. It has given me everything. I can't desert it now.
We are in Metkovic on the Croatian side of the Bosnian frontier, about to go in to Bosnia on an ODA convoy taking humanitarian aid up to Sarajevo. From now on, we're in the war zone. I shall see a lot of familiar places, no longer looking familiar. This is Sarajevo. I'm going at last to see my son-in-law and his family and to bring him news of his wife, my daughter Tamara, and the children, the new baby that he's never seen. So that's where we're going now.
Kako je bilo? Joj, pa... Od ti, u pola 3, sinoć smo o vama pričali.
Jo, prije nedjelju dana nisam znao da ću doći.
Svaka čast.
Zahvalan sam njima.
Strašan si. Iznenadio si me, prijatelj.
Filmađije.
Strašan si. This room is Ognjen room. This is my son. He lived in England and this is his chair. Ognjen room. This is chair, Ognjen chair and car. And this is...
When the war started in April, my daughter, who was 5 months pregnant, managed to get evacuated to England with her small son. The photographs I have brought are Samir's first sight of the baby, the child he may never meet.
Sama pomisao da sam dobio drugog sina, da sam dobio dijete koje nikad nisam vidio, jer sam ga vidio na slici. To je teško.
Ja. Ja.
Mislim, to je težak
Ja.
onaj.
Ja. Ali ja.
Teška stvar, ali
Takav
čovjek mora biti
Takav samo biti.
stabilan. Ne, mora biti stabilan. Onaj mora biti stabilan i... Jer moje jedino je da preživim i da budem živ. A njihovo je da ustane.
I have suggested to Samir that if the President's office still needs me as a translator, perhaps I can persuade them to keep me in exchange for letting him leave the city. Samir solves a major problem by promising to find my wife and let her know that I am back. The war has made me homeless, and General Morion, the UN commander, now occupies the temporary accommodation that I was given while working for the presidency. Therefore I have to find somewhere else to stay, in a city without phones, or electricity, or water, or fuel.
Through the good offices of the International Peace Center here, we found somewhere to stay with one of the secretaries there, who turns out to have been a student at the faculty at which I taught. We knew each other, as it turned out, and we were invited very kindly by her to stay with her family. Here we are sitting by candlelight, and a little artificial light which comes from a car battery. On my right, Alma. Next to her, their father, Mr. Zečević, their mother, Mrs. Zečević, Selma, who invited us here. And that's the whole family.
Ima zimi kod vas? Ima zimi? Nema. Jel zime? Zima.
Zima, da.
A svima!
Thank you, and you. So. You can see this. We escaped from Dobrinja 4. Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to say I wasn't here for 4 months.
Really?
I left at the end of August. I got stuck in England because of that plane being shot down. I couldn't get back again.
Really?
So I came back with this film team to make a film about the town.
Nice. I read some articles in newspaper about you.
Oh.
Maybe just 2 or 3 months ago.
Good.
Yeah, I was very
Anyway,
happy.
I hope to be back again
We have to go back to England next week to finish the film.
Yeah, you are a citizen of Sarajevo.
Yes. Okay, take
Really?
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
A citizen of Sarajevo. Not a Muslim, or a Serb, or a Croat. Just a fellow citizen. As the Lion Cemetery shows, the guns of Radovan Karadzic also make little distinction between Muslim, Serb and Croat. I came here to find the grave of a Serbian friend, the sister of the man who coined the word herbicide for the siege which has replaced with graves the trees that used to fill this place. It was this friend who drew my attention to the first resistance to ethnic categories during the census 2 years ago. There was much pressure from the three political parties which form the coalition, the Muslim party, the Serbian and the Croatian parties, on their respective so-called nations to be sure to declare themselves in the census by the correct, relevant national name and with the correct, relevant religious affiliation. I learned that, for example, in a Serbian family, father had declared himself nationality Hottentot, religion Buddhist. The son had declared himself nationality Pacific Islander, religion Bogomil. Later on, when the full story of the pleasure that this unfortunately minority of sensible people had taken in putting absurd answers to these questions, it turned out that some people had put nationality, lampshade, religion, tablecloth, and such things. Such healthy rejection of ideological idiocy is something that this country so very badly needs. With vicious irony, directly overlooking the cemetery is the window of the room in which, before he turned to mass murder, Dr. Karadzic practiced his psychiatry.
In May 1989, I came for treatment to Dr. Radovan Karadzic, recommended to me by a mutual friend, for treatment for the cyclical depression that I was suffering from at that time. I had a good first impression of him, and he said, "This will be very easy, there is no problem. I will put you on a regime of pills." And I was rather surprised only that he asked me no questions about the reasons for my condition, which were known to me, the background, what the nature of the problem was. He didn't seem to be interested in any of that, merely in directly clinically treating the condition. And very close to the end of the period, I felt one day extremely ill. So I stopped taking the pills immediately. I could only ascribe this curious condition to them. Within 24 hours I felt better, and now arose the problem what to say to strict Dr. Karadzic when I went to see him on Monday morning. I came into this room, sat down, he was at the desk, he greeted me warmly. "How are you, Mr. Tribe? Kako ste, dobar dan," all this kind of stuff. And I said, "Oh, Dr. Karadzic, I think you're going to be very angry with me." And the smile, which millions of people now know, spread across that face, and he said, "Really, Mr. Tribe, why?" And I said, "Well," and explained what had happened. And he said, "Mr. Tribe, I'm so proud of you. At last you have shown an initiative." At this point I said to myself, right, when I walk out of this door, I am not coming back. Since then I have not met the monster. I don't want to. I'll kill him if I do, with my bare hands.
Uspostavi Bosne i Hercegovine kao države tri suverena i konstitutivna naroda. Ratni zločinac Radovan Karadzic je rekao da će pregovori uspjeti, ali je pritome dodao da neće odustati od, kako je rekao, suverenosti srpskog naroda na prostorima koje smatraju svojima. Predsjednik takozvane Jugoslavije Dobrica Ćosić je rekao da njegova zemlja nema teritorijalnih pretenzija prema Bosni i Hercegovini. On prihvata dogovorno političko rješenje tri naroda bez nametanja modela sa strane.
Selma's father has managed to get a message to Jovo Tuta that I have letters for him from his son and ex-wife in England. His obvious urgency sends me fumbling among the many letters I have been given by refugees who don't know if their families are still alive. Jovo insists that I come for dinner one night in return for what he tells me is the best news he has ever had in his life.
Ne znam, otišla mi je čer prije 2 mjeseca sa Jevrejima,
Da.
sa konvojem.
A
Dobio sam vijest da su dobro u Splitu, ali ne znam gdje su, jesu u Londonu, jesu li uspjeli šta, kako su smjestili.
pa ima li išta tu?
Ima
Oni-
sve.
Sve je dobro. This is the 8th floor of the Holiday Inn Hotel. All the destruction that can be seen from this window, and much more besides, was done mainly from guns firing from my right, from this mountain and beyond, because this is the territory which the Serbs hold. The stuff comes in from there. It can be heard in the background now. They are giving us a New Year's Day greeting, no doubt. Down here below me is the Parliament Square. I was present on Sunday, the 5th of April, when the people of Sarajevo gathered in hundreds of thousands to protest against the proposal of the Serbian Democratic Party that Bosnia-Herzegovina should be partitioned into a Serbian part, a Croatian part, and a Muslim part. People said, no, we don't want this, and they gathered in their hundreds of thousands to protest against that, a peaceful demonstration. And suddenly, from this hotel where we are now standing, came shots which were fired on the crowd. I am not sure what the casualties were. I believe one person was killed and a few were injured. It was a small event in terms of what's happened since, but it was the first shock of the war. The point is that this city is innocent. This city did nothing to provoke this attack. On that day, the 5th of April, began the blockade of the city and the firing on the city. 500,000 people, 500,000 people trapped in this city, not allowed food, not allowed water, not allowed electricity. That's it. It began on that day. It began unprovoked.
Can't take time off for a cold?
I'd sooner take Sudafed. Elegant, prestigious, and indulgent. Gold is always desirable. Nothing feels or looks quite like it. Because cushion softness and generous thickness are the hallmarks of new Andrex Gold.
Lost or broken remote control? Then get a one-for-all universal remote control. It'll operate your TV, video recorder, satellite, and more.
You hate me, don't you? Say it. I hate you too. I hate you so much. I think I'm going to die from it. Die. Share the fantasy. Chanel number 5.
When you get acid indigestion or heartburn, Rennie works fast. Fast, effective Rennie for on-the-spot relief.
Darling, can you get me a size 12? This one's a bit tight. Do you need any help?
Oh, yes. I'm looking for a size 12. This one's a bit tight.
Mrs. P, the gentleman says this one's a bit tight. Do we have it in a bigger size?
Time for a sharp exit. Time for a cool, sharp harp.
Looks more like a size 14 to me.
If you want to give more for your money this Christmas, Argos takes care of it.
You know, Jeeves, drinking the old Croft Original chilled is the height of fashion.
Indeed, sir. Then perhaps we should send the bottle to your tailor.
A new bread shop opened that morning, just here on the right. Now, I regularly came up here to buy bread every morning. I, at that time, was still living in the students' hostel, which is just 5 minutes' walk down the road. And I came to buy bread from one of the delivery lorries. Delivery lorries came around every morning. We used to queue up and wait for them to come. That morning, for reasons I can no longer remember, I didn't come up here. Instead, I went to see a friend, and but I do remember that before I left, I heard the explosion, wondered what had happened, saw the crowd gathering, began to walk in this direction, and then decided that if something had happened, there was nothing I could do. I would simply be a spectator, so it's best to keep away. Instead, I went to visit a friend to find that the whole thing was already on their television screen. So I sat there in a kind of numb shock, watching this and asking myself, can this be Sarajevo? Because this was the first piece of mass bloodshed that occurred.
Despite repeated bombardment, Bosnia-Herzegovina TV has managed to keep operating throughout the war, broadcasting the images which the West so often suppresses. On my return, I am interviewed by both the TV station and Sarajevo's indestructible newspaper, Oslobođenje, which, despite even heavier bombardment, has missed only one day. The temperature in this windowless room is about -10 centigrade.
Jamila, is it right?
Jailana.
Jehana.
Well, you remember pretty well because it was a long time ago.
I remember you well, but
Yeah.
I'm terribly bad with names. Your hands must be icy.
Nothing.
Do you have at least a fairly warm home to go home to?
Yes, well, I live in a building which has no chimney. So, my mother and I, we bought a, what is it called?
Stove.
Yeah, stove. So we put these chimneys through the windows, but we have no wood. We have no wood. It's very expensive, you know. Just for a bag of wood, you have to pay 20 German marks. It's very hard. My father got killed by a grenade 3 months ago. So since then, it has been really hard time for me and my mother. But I hope to survive.
For the dinner to which he has invited me, Jovo Tuta opens his last bottle of wine to go with a risotto made from just UN rice and herbs.
Dragi prijatelju, hvala da si nam došao I donio tako lijepe vijesti. U ovom teškom vremenu puno znači kad neko dođe sa takim lijepim vijestima. Mi smo, evo vidiš, još uvijek svi živi I zdravi, imamo nove prijatelji koji su sa Grbavice izbjegli, koji su došli sa koferom stvari Mi se znamo zato što radimo u istom preduzeću. Sad smo jedna porodica. Eto tako u ovom gradu većina ljudi živi. Nas su uveli u Srbe, a njih u muslimane. I živimo zajedno.
When we were leaving Grbavica, our first neighbor was a Serb and he was in their army. He was crying for us. And he told us that he will never forget us, and that was a sad moment. And as you can see, we came here, this place, and driving off from one part of Serb nations, and we came here, and we accepted by this wonderful man, Mr. Jovo Tuta, who is also Serb.
Mnogobrojnih dokaza da se ovdje radi o nametanju nekakvih nacionalnih podjela, što to, bar kad se tiče samog grada, nikad nije bilo bilo važno, mislim, te nacionalne podjele, vjerske i tako dalje. Živilo se ovdje u jednoj zgradi, u jednom ulazu, u jednoj kući, živilo se mješovito, sve nacije, sve vjere, sve rase, tako, pa evo i ovdje u ratu kad nas hoće da podijele, mi je tu.
On my way to Sarajevo, I spent a night in Split, in Croatia, where I met a refugee and her 2 children. She told me that her husband was a surgeon in the children's ward of the battered Koševo hospital. I offered to take him a video message from her.
Dr. Nedješić, imam ovdje za vas od vaše žene u Splitu pismo i kaset, poruku što smo mi snimili u Splitu, ona i djecu su bili prisutni. Mi znamo da niste ih vidjeli 9 mjeseci i sasvim slučajno smo imali priliku da sretnemo vašu ženu i vrlo rado preda nam ovo i ovdje ima i hranu za vas od nje.
Nadamo se da ćeš nam moći ili poslati odgovor na isti način ili da ćeš moći doći uskoro do nas na nekakav način. U svakom slučaju molim te još samo malo strpljenja i moraš znati da te puno volimo.
Malo mi je ovako glupo gledam u ovu kameru, a zamišljam vas preko puta sebe. Nadam se da ćemo se uskoro vidjeti i da se više nećemo rastajati. Veoma mi je teško i ne mogu više da dočekam trenutak kad ćemo se sresti. Nadam se da ću još ovo malo izdržati. Izdržavam jer radim dosta tako da ne mogu puno da mislim na ove sve gluposti. Možeš malo.
Vijećnica was the National Library, and necessarily the University Library. It was stuffed with books, with manuscripts, with precious papers. There is no question that the bombardment of this building with incendiary shells was deliberately done. What kind of people make war on the culture and cultural history of a city? Sarajevo has lost, with the burning of this building and with the burning of its Oriental Institute, irreplaceable manuscripts, microfilms of manuscripts, hundreds of years of history swept away by people who do not wish to acknowledge that Sarajevo has an Oriental and a Turkish past. I ask again, what kind of people would do this? The answer is university professors, Nikola Koljevic of the Comparative Literature Department, Alexander Bucha of the Philosophy Department, Vojislav Maksimovic of the Slavistic Department, all of the faculty in which I have had the honor to work for 26 years. Mila Radekovic of the History Department, above all, should have known what was being done. I will not mention the psychiatrist.
Predsjednici su podijelili novu kompromisnu mapu Bosne i Hercegovine, koja je nastala na osnovu konsultacija sa svim stranama u posljednjih nekoliko dana. Prema toj mapi Bosnu i Hercegovinu sačinjava 10 provincija.
Ever since I arrived in Sarajevo, Selma has been inviting me to meet her boyfriend, a Serb, with whom she has been for over 6 years. It seems time to find out how mixed relationships are faring in this war.
U tom smislu da smo izgubili ne samo komfort i neke živote koje smo normalno vodili, više ne vodimo, ne možemo da se viđamo tako često.
Jel se lakše se svađate ili jel suprotno?
Ne, mislim suprotno.
Nemamo vremena.
Nemamo vremena.
Zato što smo strašno malo zajedno.
Da. Poželimo se.
Nemam ličnog života, ja nisam tako hrabar kao Selma, ja ne izlazim nigdje. Već 9 mjeseci. Nemam živce za nerve, za takve stvari. Naravno da mi je žao što ne mogu da pomognem na bilo koji način. Tako da praktično sam non stop u kući.
Onda kako provediš dan?
Dan je kratak, ide se rano na spavanje, potpuno je sve izokrenuto iz ležišta. Tako da čitam koliko mogu, onda izgubim koncentraciju, onda uzmem nešto besmisleno da radim, pa se opet vratim da čitam i tako. Tako da je, onda budu nekad i pucnjave, bude.
Ponavljam, ti si muslimanka, Alek je Srbin. Mješovite veze, relationships, ima ih puno.
Ima ih puno.
Jel više nego prije, manje nego prije ili isto?
Mislim isto.
Sasvim normalno.
To je sasvim normalno.
Mi smo smetnja.
Da. Smetnja kome?
Pa smetnja...
Onima koji žele da naprave čorove za ovce, da ovdje žive muslimanske ovce, ovdje srpske, ovdje hrvatske. A mi nismo ovce, mi hoćemo da budemo u toru.
In one fold, Muslims, Serbs and Croats gather together in attempts just to cross the road and avoid the bullets of the wolves on the hills. There is this terrible myth that so many people now seem to believe in, that national identity is a sort of mystical reality that you carry within yourself, that brands you. And even if you don't know what you are, you still are that. It's as if someone born into the Church of England who doesn't actually believe in God was told, well, whether you like it or not, you are a Christian, and therefore I will persecute you. The world's media have colluded in this by accepting the ethnic categories laid down by the nationalists and labelling the warring sides accordingly. There are 50,000 Serbs inside Sarajevo who are resisting the onslaught of their fellow Serbs, but in the media, Sarajevo and its government are nearly always referred to as Muslim. How are the Bosnian Serbs in Sarajevo to be labelled? How are the thousands born from mixed marriages to be categorised? How are you going to sort and file a city where even now Muslims, Serbs and Croats still intermarry and will continue to do so as long as sanity survives. At last I have been able to get an appointment with Kemal Muftic, the presidential aide, to propose the exchange of my services for my son-in-laws.
Međutim, moj lični problem je moja kćerka, koja već 9 mjeseci je u Engleskoj sa malom djetetom i sa novom bebom. I kad sam ja rekao da ću se vratiti, ona skoro eksplodirala i rekla, čuj, tata kaže, postoji mogućnost da sam izgubila i muža i majku i sad ne bih htjela da izgubim i tatu. Međutim, meni je jasno da kad bi samo mogao njen muž da se vrati, odnosno da ide kod nje, onda ja bi slobodan da odem. Njen muž Samir je u vojsci, u bosanskoj vojsci i ja sam razgovarao s njim i on nema nikakvu namjeru da ode bez dozvole vlasti i ja svakako ne tražim privilegiju za jednu osobu, samo kažem da je to moj lični problem. I palo mi je na pamet da možda mi možemo jedan exchange da pravimo gdje Samir ode u Englesku, a ja se vratim u Sarajevo.
To je šaljivo, ali mislim da ta vrsta exchange-a
nije baš
izvodiva.
Ne. I tako sam, barem ja sam obećavao kćerki da ću barem to pitati.
This is my 7th day in Sarajevo. All of these days I have been very worried about my wife because she lives in the new part of the city on the 18th floor of a high-rise block. Yesterday morning, to my great and glad surprise, she appeared in the house where I'm staying. She took an hour, of course, to walk there, as I have now taken an hour to walk here. Now at last I'm able to go and see what kind of conditions she has been living in all of these months of siege. My wife and I are separated. We have not lived together for 10 years, but we are good friends. And it has been a great anxiety, not only for me, but for our children, to know what has happened to her, and if possible, to rescue her from the city. Now at last it seems that there is a possibility that we can do this.
The trouble with these high-rise buildings is that everything depends on the electricity. Yeah. You know, you have to, lifts work on electricity, telephones work on electricity, water is pumped.
Yeah, and above all, the lift works on electricity.
Of course.
You have to walk up and down.
Yes.
How many stairs?
314, I have
314. Mm-hmm.
So, but that wouldn't have been so bad. But, you know, you have nowhere to go, because no side of the house seems to be safe enough. But my first bullet hurt most of all. The window must have been open. And I walked this way and walked into the kitchen. At that moment, it whizzed past me. And made this tiny little hole, which I'm using for my bell now. There's no electricity. And we followed the route. It must have hit there. And made a hole through the door. Maybe if the neighbour is in, you'll see where it ended. We couldn't get out. Dobar dan, snimate televizija. Ovo je Englez. Samo izvolite. Da vide gdje je metak otišao. And it ended here. And it's too deep in. I think it's deeper than your finger. And we couldn't get out. We were interested to see what sort of a bullet it was.
I mean, how badly has this building as a whole been hit?
I don't know how many grenades fell. I mean, this is my lot, and I've been lucky. Oh, I'll start crying in a minute. This is an application form. What is it? To get me a press accreditation.
This is all you need.
Would I produce it too?
Never mind, you'll produce.
If they ask me, you know, what's my job, I wouldn't know.
They talked this morning to Metkovic.
Yes?
Dom talked to Metkovic and to the leader of the convoy, and he says it's perfectly okay as long as you have accreditation. I'll take to art with pleasure.
Very good, thank you very much. Otherwise you'll have frozen me on your hands.
Yes.
Do you know why they stopped shelling Hum, you know, the
why they stopped?
Television tower?
Yeah?
Well, after about 100 grenades, they realized it wasn't the mosque.
In Sarajevo, in the heart of Europe, corazón del mundo. And if you try to share that heart, the all of Europe may soon be pulled apart. But if you want to save the world,
I came here under an illusion, created partly by my own apprehensions, but fed by impressions gathered from television and newspaper reports back in England. My apprehension was that I was coming to not just a ruined city, but a totally demoralized city. And I feared what I would find. I feared that what I found would be something so horrible that I would never ever want to come here again. I'm glad to say that quite the opposite is the case. The city is not dead. It's destroyed, but it's not dead, because the city is its people. And I'm happy today, in spite of all the wreck and ruin around me, to find my Sarajevo people the same as I've always known them. And not least, I must say, happy at the very warm reception I've been given, because I also was afraid that they would be angry with me for having stayed away for those 4 months.
stand and help Sarajevo, in the heart of Europe, corazón del mundo.
Look, if I had decided to drink some hard liquor, it's my business. I've got good reason to. I've got constipation for 3 days. Nothing has moved in my bowels.
Is the drink dirty?
I'm very dirty all over. I've got a beard as long as Methuselah, right? And I'm glad to be out.
Now, your irresistible new hat can help you save on your next bonnet. Airline tickets can get you first-class seats. And the occasional steak can lead to a tasty grill. Because Britain's most popular car manufacturer and Britain's biggest credit card have got together to create the Ford Barclaycard. It gives you all the advantages of a Barclaycard, with the chance to save towards a new Ford every time you use it. You can save up to £600 a year with a maximum of £1,800 in 3 years. If you're already a Barclaycard holder, then from January, your existing profile points can count for up to £600 of that £1,800 saving. Call 0800 111 222 now. Ford and Barclaycard, making a Ford more affordable.
Jif Micro Liquid, where are you?
Hey, I'm new Jif Micro Liquid. Okay, I'm small, but I've got micro power.
so you use less. That's why I clean as much as 1 litre of ordinary liquid, leaving a brighter shine. It's no wonder everyone's shouting, Jif Micro Liquid, where are you? He outshines all ordinary liquids.
Dune, une femme, un parfum, Christian Dior.
It's been 3 days on the Lake Malawi ferry bound for Monkey Bay and the mystic charms of Lilongwe. Conditions are hardly what you or I are used to. Tuesday on the dot.
Don't you present a program on daytime television?
Sadly, the only thing around here with 4 stars was the petrol. I think this'll do nicely. Unfortunately, nobody told me that Malawi has the biggest Carlsberg brewery in Africa. The words Coles and Newcastle immediately sprang to mind.
Carlsberg, probably the best lager in the world.
Here I am, back in Sarajevo after 10 months. When our film was shown, many people in England asked me by letter or by phone call what they could do to help. Well, I've come to try to help them, to help the Sarajevo people, but to help them by asking them that question, what can we do? Ten months later, the hospitality of the Zečevićes is as defiant of their conditions as ever, although the day before we arrived, a shell destroyed the house across the road. Selma is missed as she is now working for the Umbrafor outside the city, and dysentery has left Mr. Zečević much thinner than last time. Spirits are warm, but unbroken, and are lifted slightly when the family is able to see our film broadcast on a neighbour's TV powered by a car battery. The film is also shown at the most ambitious artistic response yet to the siege, the International Sarajevo Film Festival, an event soured only by the British government's request to the UNHCR to prevent Vanessa Redgrave and other filmmakers from attending. Why a normal festival in such an abnormal situation?
Because we are trying to remain normal. And that's the point.
What actually happened to Vanessa Redgrave's party?
Vanessa Redgrave was in Sarajevo a month ago. Then we met and we talked, we told her about our film festival. So she said, very good, I'll try to get some films for you. They came to Ancona finally on October 22nd, waiting for the plane to come here.
And they had all the correct, they had the accreditation?
They had everything. But finally, the paper appeared in which somebody from Geneva, from UNHCR, said that those people on the list mustn't be in Sarajevo. So, okay, then forget Bosnians, forget dark Balkans, forget Muslims, forget all those tribes living on the branches in the Balkans. And let us talk about English people staying in Ancona, waiting to come someplace in the world and not being allowed to come. Let us talk for the difference about UN siege.
Yes.
which is the second siege.
This is what I wanted you to say.
And I don't want to us to forget the first siege we are having, and we are dying every day of that. I mean, what happened?
A fire extinguisher fell down inside the cinema while the film was in progress. People's nerves are so bad that they thought a bomb had gone off and rushed out. It's a good illustration of how nervous everybody is. One Sarajevan who has reached the end of his tether is my friend Vedran Smilovic, the cellist now famous for playing on the site of the bread queue massacre. He no longer plays there because he has now lost his cello.
Treba i reći to da si ti prestao da jedeš kada prije 5 dana uz Afganistan i ti sad nećeš da jedeš.
U stvari, kada sam ostao, ne samo bez stana, nego što je preče, kad sam ostao bez instrumenta, moje violončelo je moj instrument. To je moje oružje. Kada sam ostao bez oružja, a što onda predaj? Ja sam se predao. Ja više snage nema.
Ti si odlučio na samoubistvo?
Da. Vjeruj mi da mi je žao.
Mrtvi ljudi ne mogu ništa.
Ni ovi živi ne mogu.
Živi imaju neke šanse ponekad, tu i tamo. Mrtvi nemaju.
Od mnogobrojnih poziva, kad me gospodin predsjednik USA, Jimmy Carter, zvao da dođem u Ameriku.
I nisi mogao ići, ja?
Ne.
I šta je bilo? Ko ti je spriječio da ideš?
UNHCR. Ljudi odlaze, 1000 maraka se uplati oficiru nekom, šta ja znam.
Umproforov.
Pa da, pa nećemo.
Ne, mi
uplatiš i onda ode. Odmah na orli te fino spusti.
A taj samo traži...
Samo keš.
A most curious situation obtains in this city. It's bombarded every day, yet the Umprofor sits in the midst of the city itself and observes. That same Umprofor distributes just sufficient food to keep people alive. Indeed, we now know that food earmarked for this city is going to the besiegers. Sarajevo is full of people who long to get out. They can't go out because the Umprofor forbids them to fly on its planes. Bosnian citizens are not allowed to fly on these planes. Mail. People in this city long for their loved ones, and their loved ones outside long for them. Yet the Umprofor does not allow us, we who love this city, to bring mail in to help these people. Sarajevo people say that there are 2 sieges. There is the siege conducted by Ratko Mladic and his Yugoslav army, but there is another siege, the siege of the Umprofor bureaucracy, that for reasons not known to us, not, at any rate, overtly stated, seems to wish this city to die as soon as possible. Is it possible that there is a connection between this and the curious charade being played out at Geneva, where an innocent country